Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Dave.
And we are here to talk all about some freelancing today. The wonderful world of freelancing. We have Melody with us from Slice Creative Network. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic show. We're giving it a couple minutes for people to join all across social media. Thanks for coming. First, right off the bat, feel free to comment with any questions you might have about freelancing. We've done a lot of preparation. We're going to be asking a lot of questions. And I also want to do a special announcement that in 2 weeks at the same exact time, we have the fine people of Animax Designs. They're an amazing animatronic puppeteering costume company based out of Nashville, Tennessee. We have Chuck Fawcett and Steve Anderson to talk all about animatronics engineering and during these times. So we're really excited to have that. Go ahead and mark your calendar right now. Follow us on our channels on Facebook or find me on LinkedIn to get the link. But we're really excited about that. That's going to be a great show coming up in 2 weeks. So all of you engineers out there, you're going to want to ensure you stay tuned for that one. So we're really excited about that. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Not bad.
It's beautiful weather right now, so it's pretty great.
So thanks, folks. We got Kelsey saying hello. Robosaurus draws cool. Alex Underwood, hello. Happy Friday. So excited to be here for another here. Awesome. Thanks for support. Feel free to chime in across YouTube or Facebook. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Melody. I'm going to take the first segment. Kelly and Dave, we'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. Hello, Melody.
Hi. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, it's such an interesting time. You know, Melody, I know you kind of inspired. You did the first webinar I saw with the freelancing one. I was on that, watching that. And then I was like, you know what? If Melody can do it, I can do it. So not to say that you can't do things, but I'm just like, I can help out too. So
of course you can.
You know, me and Melody, we go back 7 years. I remember the day I met you at your signature event for Slice Creative, the Speed Dating Network event. And,
it's not dating, it's just networking.
Yeah, speed networking. Yeah, I got confused, but I was like speed dating, but speed networking. But let's talk about that a little bit later. For now, can you introduce yourself so people know who you are and what you're doing here, all the way from the beginning of time? Please.
Oh, I won't go back that far. I'll just do a quick overview, save everyone's minds. Right. So I'm Melody Matheny. I am currently a senior scenic designer at Universal Studios Entertainment Department, which is the art and design group, which is not Universal Creative. They're two different things. Our group is responsible for in-park events like Halloween Horror Nights and Mardi Gras and Christmas parades, basically any entertainment that's happening within the park. So I've been working with them for about a year. And but for the 10 years prior to that, I've owned my own freelance business. And I've had a lot of really wonderful clients through that business, which I call Melody Matheny Designs. I worked with Universal and SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Nickelodeon, and Brian Morrow Productions, and just a ton more. And it was excellent experience. And during that period, I founded Slice Creative Network, which is an online network for creative freelancers who work in the theme park industry. Our website, plug, is www.slicecreativenetwork.com. So if you haven't been on the site, I encourage you to go check it out. So that's kind of a quick overview of who I am and what I'm doing here.
That's great.
Yeah, there you go.
So just note that we do. I have your little logo right here.
Oh, thank you.
May not be the best, but there you go.
You can look at my earring. I got my bling earring.
Oh, nice.
My slice
So you freelanced for 10 years. You started freelancing kind of out of necessity after the Great Recession that happens. Mm-hmm. So, but people who are watching may not have any idea about what freelancing is. This is targeted towards students, but also we know there's a lot of people who may have been furloughed or laid off. That's just a reality, who are probably facing freelancing for the first time. We talked to Brian Morrow 2 weeks ago about freelancing, and you know everything about freelancing. You know the ins and outs of it. So I'd love to have your perspective just for the first question of, what is a freelancer and how does it work in general?
Yeah, so a freelancer is basically a self-employed person who performs services for a client. A freelancer can charge hourly, they can charge daily, or they can charge per project. And freelancers are generally seen as working on short-term projects. That's kind of the general feeling in the world about freelancers, that they do quick little projects, but it's not true. Freelancers do anything from quick projects to years worth of projects. There's been plenty of our Slice freelancers who've worked at all the big parks for years on one big project. So, but basically freelancer is someone who's self-employed.
Yeah. And me personally, I'm considered a freelance contractor at Nickelodeon. So I'm in the same boat as that. Great. So how do you land your first client as a freelancer? So we have people who maybe never even done that. I didn't even know what to do. So what do you recommend? Like, how do you even find these people?
Yeah, it's all about networking. I would say 95% of freelancers get work from who they know or who they meet. So be sure to get involved in any organizations and clubs that you can. Of course, Slice, we offer a great organization to network and communicate with each other. Also, Dave Hall, one of your co-hosts there, runs Slice Edge along with Cam Ressiger. And Slice Edge is basically a more fun type of group where they go to different theme parks and just have fun together with like-minded designers in the groups. There's also, of course, TEA, which is huge and international, and it's a great organization to be a part of. There's AIGA, there's Yahtzee, I think is how you say it, IATFE for scenic artists as well. So basically get out there and get people to remember your face and your work, and that's how you get your first job.
So I have a question for you. So networking and all that, how do you even approach somebody? So let's just say you're at a TEA event, or you're at just an event, like an Edge event. How do you even say, hey, I'm available as freelancing? Do you have any guidance on just even cracking that first person?
Well, if you think about it from the other person's perspective, like, why do people go to these events? It's to meet people. They're going to talk to people and socialize. So approach them as you would anybody else, and just say hi and introduce yourself, and don't be shy. It's important to not seem too overzealous or desperate in any way.
Right.
Should be a very friendly conversation, of course, but no, just be yourself and don't worry. Like, they're there for that. So do it.
Well, and it's almost like, you have to have a business card. So if you're there and you need to have it, I'm a freelance, whatever it is you are, you need to be the one that's definitely handing them out. And the business card they'll say, oh, what do you do? And you say, oh, I'm a freelance. It'll come up casually in conversation. But if you don't have a business card that links to a website, that's the things that you need to have, right?
Absolutely. A website is number one. And even when people apply to Slice, the first requirement is a functioning website where people can see your work or know who you are. Because in nowadays, people don't think you're legit unless you have a website and an online presence. And they're going to check that. That's the first thing they're going to check. Yeah. You have to have an online presence with your work.
So we have a question from Alex Underwood. If I want to freelance, how do I do that without getting in trouble with my employer?
I would say just be smart about it. Don't advertise it all over the internet that you're freelancing, and just go to these clubs and organizations and private events and just introduce yourself that way, and you'll be fine. As long as you're not putting any bad words in about your company or anything like that, then there's nowhere they'll find out or reprimand you for that.
Well, and also you might be in a different industry where, like, I was doing something completely different while I was trying to interview as a freelancer. So you can be in a different industry or working at attractions at Universal or Disney or what have you, and actively freelancing on the side. If it's a whole different ball game, right? Yes,
absolutely. Like, there's no way you can cross streams with your non-disclosure agreements, with your you can't work for a company that's a competitor of the current company that you're working for, and just basically follow the rules. Like, whatever contract you signed with your company, make sure you follow those rules. And if you're gonna freelance, then make sure you're not putting that group in danger in any way or going against your contract.
Mm-hmm. So now a question comes up where, we've just come out of college, or you're furloughed, or you're laid off, or what have you. How do you figure out what your rate is? Like what you should be charging for your work? You just got out of college, or you've been getting paid a salary job as a whatever position. What are some factors that you need to go in on that, so you don't underbid yourself and don't overbid yourself?
That's a difficult question to assess publicly because it's a slippery slope, and it's a constant question from all freelancers, from beginners to intermediate level freelancers. The issue is we're unable to speak publicly about it because it could be viewed as rate setting, which is an illegal practice against the federal government.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not fair to clients, because if you start publicizing how much you're charging or how much you think other people should be charging, you can easily be sued and put into court. So it's something to talk about. But what I would suggest is basically follow the company's lead. So if you're trying out for a job and you're applying and they say, how much do you charge? I would ask them how much they have set for the position, and follow their lead as to your payment. Because if you're laid off or you're just out of school, your primary focus should be getting a job no matter what it pays, as long as you can survive on it. So I would just follow the company's lead and go from there.
Yeah. So
I have to say also, once you freelance for a long time and you work for many different companies, you'll begin to understand yourself which companies expect a certain rate from which types of disciplines. You'll just become more educated as you go, as with anything. So I would say, like, most freelancers probably don't really feel comfortable with their price setting until they're 5 to 10 years in and they've worked for a ton of companies. So don't worry if you feel insecure about it, because everybody does.
Right.
Just go with your gut and follow the company's leads.
There you go. So we have a question. We do like to take the live questions when we can. So can students join Slice?
Okay. Also a little bit rocky waters, because we don't accept students who are currently in school unless they're just about to graduate. We accept like people just about to graduate. And in your portfolio, you have to show a really good, solid amount of work and understanding of the concepts of the disciplines that you're applying to be listed under in Slice. So make sure that if you are a student and you want to apply to Slice, make sure your website and all of your disciplines are very concise and the quality of work is very high. And then you'll have a great chance of getting in.
So we have a question that was referring to the other one I want to try to get on. What about freelancers who package their services into tiers? Do you have any comments on that?
I'm not sure what they're asking.
I think in regards to, so Robosaurus Draws, go ahead and clarify your question a bit and we'll try to answer it, okay?
Yeah.
Because we sometimes run a delay, so we can't see what they're referring to. So we have people who are watching from all over the world. At least we know we're watching. My question is, what types of freelancing or contract workers are out there? So people tend to think it's in the creative field, but you could probably expand on that quite a bit.
Well, I mean, freelancers span the globe with everything you can possibly think of, but in terms of Slice, we also have many, many categories, and I would encourage you to go on our website and see all the categories that we host. But I want to reference this question in terms of which disciplines are the most sought after over a long period of time in our industry. From my perspective, I've been doing this for 10 years and I've seen patterns, right? And so the most sought after disciplines I've found are CAD designers, show set designers, architectural designers, project managers, and 3D artists. And I would say those are kind of the most asked for. The disciplines that I kind of categorized as needed more sparingly in the industry are, I have a few written down here. It is, and don't take any offense to this, because I'll follow this up in just a second. Writers, audio designers and composers, photographers, and costume designers. They're needed much less. That doesn't mean they're not needed. They are. And when companies hire those people, they usually love them and they hold on to them for a long time. So don't worry. If you fall into those categories, you will get work. But it may not be as easy because there's not as many opportunities. So if you are in one of those categories, I would suggest you try to identify or couple your skills with another skill that's maybe more desired in order to get work faster and get your foot in some doors. And then once you get rolling, you'll be able to be hired for the disciplines that you're looking to.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's very, just to speak about that a little bit, because I can comment on this, I kind of went into the industry trying to do writing, but I went in really as a project coordinator and then started writing while I was doing that.
yes.
And then now I'm an art director and I also write. So
Right.
that's to convey storytelling and all that kind of good stuff. So it's very challenging unless you have other skill sets. So the fact that I was project manager and could write was very good. And then I also picked up the artistic story development guest experience. But you're totally correct on that. And it's about the fact that, writing is a part of it, but there's so much more that comes afterwards to keep your story alive that you need to be versatile on. So
Absolutely.
very good point. So
great insight. Thank you.
So we have, a very big, we know the world of Universal and Walt Disney, and we know they have freelancers. I mean, they have contract workers. How do you break into that? You've done it. How do you break into that versus maybe working for other companies?
Okay, it's all about right place, right time, right people. The goal is to align those three things to have your best chance at getting work with the groups that you want to. Once you have those three things together, the fourth item that will hit it home and get you the job is your work. And there is one last thing, the fifth thing is your personality. Okay, everyone wants to work with people that they like, and we've said this a number of times in many of our events. So, but basically, our annual speed networking event that Patrick was referencing earlier for Slice, we attempt to put the first three things all in alignment for you. So that what you have to do as an attendee to that sort of event is to prove yourself with the fourth item, which is your work, and the fifth item, your personality. Beyond our speed networking event, there's plenty of opportunities around the year to kind of align those things. But it's all about networking and trying to get as many of those items in one bucket as you can. And then once you do that, that's the magic trick. So get involved and meet as many people as you can.
So, you said something very interesting, which is, you said personality, which that's people's personality. Now, personality meaning how you can present yourself to your fellow people and what your work environment is like. Can you actually hone in on like what things people want a little more, and instead of saying a nice personality, are there any specific things, meaning, being kind to your employee, people around you, or is there anything specific you can give advice on? It's a weird question, but you know what I mean? It's just trying to hone in.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, everybody's kind of different and every company is different. Every company has a different personality. Some people are very, in their cubicles and working really hard all day, and they like to put their headphones on and stay very focused all day, like the entire office, and then some offices like to be more jovial and they go hang out at the water, at the little kitchen and hang out and chit chat. So it's really going to vary. It's really like matchmaking, you mentioned speed dating earlier, and it isn't dating, but it is speed networking, and it's trying to find the companies that your personality matches with really well. So there's no like overarching great thing, just that you have a good work ethic and you know how to react to people and be kind to people and work really well with them.
Yeah, and if folks just out there, a plug, the book How to Win Friends and Influence People is by Dale Carnegie. Is an old book, but it's fantastic to learn how to, talk and communicate with people. I recommend that. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a fantastic book. I have one more question. I do not have another question for you. We're going to send it over to Kelly. So Melody, It was nice talking to you. I'll see you on the other side. All right.
Thanks, Patrick.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Kelly. Oh, can't hear you.
That's the way it goes on a Friday, right? So some of the questions that we have been kind of coming up with are like, what are some of the 3 months, the 6 months, the year-long outlook between what you experienced during the Great Recession and what you're seeing now with the market?
Okay. I think the plan is to not have a plan, as silly as that sounds. But I really think that to not have a plan and to be able to react fluidly to the evolving situation is really important. Be ready for anything at any time, which is what the freelance lifestyle is basically about anyway. If you have been a freelancer before, you'll know this. You always have to be ready. So what does that mean? It means have your portfolio ready in different formats, different versions for employers. Have a variety of resumes with each one focusing on your varying disciplines that you can shoot off at any time.
Right.
But the differences to the recession, I can't really speak to the theme park industry well, because at that time I was working at IDEA Orlando, and we designed cruise ports in the Caribbean. So my focus was there at the time. From my own experiences from that, I can say that I was laid off during that period, and I was kind of forced to be a freelancer. So it was not a lifestyle that I chose initially. And I know a lot of you guys are going through that right now as well. But I can say that it changed my life, clearly. Once I became a freelancer, it took me about a year to get on my feet, to really have solid work 40 hours a week. But that was coming from, I wasn't already in the industry. I didn't know as many people, and maybe some students might be in a similar situation. But at the beginning, it was all about, like once I lost my job and we were in the recession, right? It was all about who I knew and friends who needed things. So the first thing that happened was, okay, everyone was dumped and laid off in the recession, right? And what do people start doing once they're laid off? Well, they start their own businesses. And what do businesses need? They need logos, they need business cards, they need websites, they need marketing, etc. So I, as a graphic designer, I was their go-to, and I made pretty good money doing that. And that's how I kind of stayed afloat and kept networking through all those jobs. And I kept knocking on theme park doors too, and Nickelodeon gave me a little shot, and from there it grew and grew. I'm very thankful for that. But I would suggest to anyone looking for work right now to think smart, watch what people are doing, and follow the stream to offer the services that they will need. So I personally, and I don't know if I'm right, but I personally think that marketing is going to be a huge deal again any second when they start reopening the country, because everyone's going to be racing for people's wallets again, right? So how does your discipline fit in with what they will need?
Right.
If you can figure that out, then start pounding the pavement, and you'll find work, and from there your network will expand. So I know it's not quite the question you were asking, but I hope it helps.
No, that's honestly, it's kind of perfect because I personally have so many friends who are just getting out of college myself as well, and people who I know that were laid off who've never touched freelance work. So the jump is for you who have done it so successfully before to tell us like it's doable. It kind of is calming, and it feels like, okay, I can totally do this. We have a question from Juan. With so many people having been laid off and furloughed, when this goes back to normal, how fast do you think companies will let their workers back in? And if they found a job already, how fast will you think there'll be interviews for new people?
That is really so varied. Every company has reacted differently, of course, because they're under unique circumstances. So there's no way to determine that effectively at all. I can say that running Slice, I've had a couple of full-time jobs and freelance jobs floated over my desks that members could have applied to, that I targeted, the specific disciplines to call them back. But it's only been a handful over the last 2 months, but it's something. So the well is not completely dry right now, but I think it'll start coming back as soon as all the parks come back online, of course. But I have no real prediction or idea.
Right. And then with Juan's follow-up question was, will theme parks start relying more on freelancers, do you think, now once the money starts trickling in than maybe hiring back their employees?
Again, that's unique to each company.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I think that freelancers will find themselves in a little bit of a freelance boom over the coming couple of years, probably. Because yes, a lot of companies have laid off and furloughed and et cetera. So I think companies are going to react in one of two ways. They might, people who've tried to hold on to their employees will continue to do that, of course, and use all of their existing resources to get as much work done as they can possibly do, right? And then other companies that have been forced to kind of pare down to even less people than they really need, those are the people that are going to hire freelancers to help them get their projects out and get them back on their feet until they can hire people again, if that's what they choose to do. So that's
that's perfect. I think another question, being in school, wherever people are in school, some people like myself and my classmates were up in Savannah, some people are in Orlando already. There are people, dotted all over the place up in Pennsylvania, Carnegie Mellon, and, Texas, everywhere, literally.
Yeah.
Everywhere. How do you recommend to new people to the industry, not just students, but like, how do we reach out? Do you have any advice on reaching out to people we want to learn from? Just to like, hey, I want to pick your brain. You may have some time on your hands. You might not even want to talk about this right now, but I don't know if you have advice.
I do. My advice is wait, wait, because people are very sensitive right now. Most middle-aged people, like myself, have families and home responsibilities to take care of that's consuming their lives right now during the pandemic. So they don't have time or energy to help anybody else but themselves. Some are fine and totally want to help. And then some people are becoming insecure, like some people that are still holding onto their jobs. Some of them are reacting a little bit more aggressively because they're trying to protect their jobs and protect their livelihoods and their families, right? So any kind of people coming in and trying to ask them how to get where they are, some people are reacting a little bit, defensively about that, and understandably, right? But there's no way to know who's feeling which way unless they're coming out online and saying, like, I want to help people, like myself or you guys, we're clearly in the position where we want to help people. But if you don't have clear evidence of that, I wouldn't approach them. So I would say just wait.
I think we have, I had one more quick question, but I think you pretty much answered it. So I'm going to see if Dave wants to come in now.
Okay.
Hey guys. All right, Melody. Thanks for plugging my site a little or for Edge a little bit earlier. But you were talking just now about waiting to approach people in the industry to reach out. But what is something that students or recent grads could be doing in their free time to prepare to get into the industry in the future?
Yeah. So I would say learn your programs even better. Create projects that emulate the type of projects that you want to do in your potential job, and do a really great job at it. Like, do the best job you can possibly do at it because you have the time. So show it off. I would work on your website. I would make it communicate very effectively and very concisely. it's quality over quantity, right? So I know you can probably do a lot of things, but hone it down and make sure that clients will be able to see exactly why you're very valuable to them immediately. Focus on that. And I would say do any jobs you can get your hands on, even if it seems unrelated or minor, because it will all help you in the end, all of it. Other than that, once the world reopens, take a piece of advice from Lady Gaga. She says, respect your youth. And you totally should, because you're only young once. And before you have responsibilities that will tie you down, you know, kids, mortgage, aging parents, go and travel if you can, pursue your hobbies, do everything that you've always wanted to do, because you're not tied down yet, and you need to respect that, and it's an important part of your life. So don't be too gung-ho about trying to get into the industry, because whenever you're ready to come back, the theme parks are still going to be here, and there's still going to be work. In fact, it might be better. And employers will not see you as any less capable or prepared than any of your peers if you decide to take a break before you enter the industry. So don't worry about that at all.
I'm only here. I did that exact thing. So graduated in 2009, tried to get a job in the industry, and everyone said, hey, you're great, but we just laid off half our staff. And so I had some money saved up, and I traveled, and I did all sorts of things. And then I came back to Orlando and then landed a job within a couple months. So
exactly.
Back to you. Just want to say it's real. Respect.
I love it.
Yeah, we're actually going to throw it to, we had a question on the YouTube that's from RoboSource Draws. Some creatives position their pricing based on their output. So this was kind of throwing back to what he had asked earlier. So a higher tier package would include wider suite of services and deliverables. Is that a good strategy for freelancers?
I would say it depends on your clients and what their needs are. I mean, personally, for everybody's services are different, so I can't really accurately assess that. My services, I would break it down, and if someone asked me for that wider suite of package, then I would prepare that for them and showcase it. But I don't know if I'd come out with the package initially, you know, unless you know that that's what they need.
So
I'm not really sure.
And then I think it's from Juan here again. Should students who graduate work on spec, or should they charge anything at all?
Oh, please charge. Please charge.
Yes, I think that's a great point.
Nobody should be working for free. Nobody. And if someone asks you to work for free, you need to be paid for your services. Thank you.
That's a very good question, Juan. Thank you again for that. And now that we've talked a lot about freelance and we've talked about the benefits of it, I think leaving today with more of some steps for those students who are just now graduating or have been out in the industry for a few years, like myself, and are in the same position that you were during the Great Recession, where we've been laid off and now we're considering providing our services for freelance just to get out there. I'd like to talk more about the business side of it. So legally, how do you start a freelance business? And then the legal and business ramifications of doing that.
Okay. I'll assess this question in terms of short-term versus long-term freelancing. You can go about it two different ways. There's kind of many different ways to slice the cake here, but I'll give you my take on it. Okay, so if you know you're going to be a freelancer for less than a year, and this is not a suggestion, this is just an option in the air, okay? I'm not telling you what to do. You don't have to be a registered business to be able to operate as a freelancer. You can take jobs and money as you would naturally, but over time, if this method of income becomes typical for you, you'll ultimately save money in taxes if you do have a business. So you judge it as you go. And also, this method of conducting business is less secure legally. So like if a company decides to sue you for any reason, you have no legal protection. So, but you can still do it, and it's legal to take money and offer services like that if you want to. If you plan on being a freelancer for a year or more, or if you just feel more comfortable doing it this way with a registered business, you'll have to register on sunbiz.org, and I think it's about $150, something like that.
And that's just for Florida, right?
That's for Florida. Yes, Florida.
Okay.
Sorry, sunbiz.org is Florida. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about $150 for a year, and you have to register either an LLC, a C Corp, or an S Corporation. And you should study up on the differences between those three to see which best is going to help you, okay? So before you go to sunbiz.org, research those three: LLC, C Corp, or S Corp. And once you do that, you have to update your status like once a year on their website. You also will do your taxes quarterly instead of annually if you own a business, which is great because if you're doing lots of little jobs, I mean, to remember everything after a year is mind-boggling. So to do it every quarter is much more reasonable anyway. Also, I would say if you decide to open your own business, consider opening another bank account just for your business income. So that way it's super easy for you to keep track of your payments, what's going in and what's going out. And that's going to make your taxes a breeze once you do that. And it'll also protect you legally. Again, if anybody decides to sue you or whatever, you're tying your business bank account into that project instead of your personal bank account, you know, so that'll protect you. A couple of other things to think about if you start a business, and these are not requirements either, is just kind of things that have helped me. If you have clients like Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Falcons Creative Group, there's a number of companies that will require you to have business insurance. Business insurance will cost me about $50 a month. So read up on that and find a potential business insurance company that you can call like really quick. If you get a call from a Disney or a Universal or Falcons or whatever, and they say, okay, do you have business insurance? You can say yes. And then you're going to call your business people up right away and get your insurance right away. So you know exactly what to do. Okay. So research that. The second thing was contracts. You will be required to sign contracts for any kind of range of companies, right? For very small companies, or maybe it's friend to friend, they might not have contracts, but it would benefit you to have your own contract written up for your own business. In case you'd ever need to use it, you can pull it out right away. That will also, again, legally protect you from a client who might knowingly or unknowingly abuse your services in some way as the project progresses. And you can create your own contract, or you can hire a lawyer to help you, and which is probably about $500 if you wanted to do that. I'm throwing numbers in the air, so please like contact lawyers and figure it out. But from my memory, my vague memory, I think it's about that much. So yeah, those are kind of your options. So you either start a business or you don't, and you have all those things to think about. Does that help?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people, you know, when you just say start freelancing, I mean, they're very good at the skills, they're very good at the things they do for freelancing, but there's a whole business aspect of it, and you definitely just don't want to end up in some kind of legal trouble because you just didn't get started the right way. And I think a lot of people are hesitant to start because of that. So just, you know, that's some great stuff. You gave us a lot of things to look into and make sure that we're on the right side of before we start offering our services like that.
Yeah, I would say don't be hesitant. It's nothing to be afraid of at all. Yeah. It's a great way of doing business, and it's a lot of fun. And you're going to meet a lot of great people and do a lot of really cool projects. So don't be afraid at all.
Yeah, I think this is a good option, a good opportunity to kind of transition into Slice and what you guys are offering on your side of things. So would you be willing to kind of walk us through the Slice website to kind of see the resources that are out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We'll see if we can get that pulled up on the screen and have you walk us through that.
Okay. Also, if anybody else has questions about freelancing or the Orlando industry freelancing in particular, write in and let me know. I'll try to answer it.
Definitely. So I think we got it up on the screen here. Oh
yeah. Okay. Hey, there it is. Hey. All right. So we're Slice Creative Network, of course, and we're offering a free annual membership for anyone who applies to be part of the network from now until July 31st. Of course, there is a vetting process for you once you apply, and all of our board members will have to assess your work before you're allowed to be listed on our site. But once you get into the website, you'll learn a little bit more about that. So under the first tab there is freelancers. So if you're looking for freelancers, you want to check out the other freelancers, you click on that tab, and all those disciplines that are listed there are just some of the disciplines that we offer. So there's a whole search engine in there, etc., but you don't need to click on that right now, Dave. So the second tab there is Join Slice. So if you're interested in joining the group, check that out. The application's there, and you'll have all the information you need. The third tab is Resources. So sign up for our newsletter there, and we distribute a newsletter once a month that will basically talk about what all of our members have been working on and any upcoming events that we might have. If you are a company and you're looking to submit a job opening, you can do it there as well. And the third thing there is the job board, which Dave Hall invented along with Bryn Gellerman out in LA. Woot! And that links over to themedentertainmentjobs.com, which they keep updated very regularly. So check out that job board. It's great resource.
Thank you.
Of course, we have a blog there at the bottom where we have a couple of articles that our board members, etc., have written. The fourth tab is events. So check out our upcoming events by investigating in there. And then about us, you can see who our team members are. Team members meaning board members, and also our sponsors. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. We can click on that, Dave. Our platinum sponsor this year is Brian Morrow Productions, BMP, who's an awesome company that I've worked with for many years, and they're wonderful people and excellent designers. And I'm not saying that just because they're sponsoring us. I'm saying it for real. They're great people. Also, Nickelodeon Experience Design. Yay, Patrick! And the whole crew there at Nickelodeon, so fun to work with. Love them. And they are also our sponsors, as well as EDSA, who's a landscape architecture firm in downtown Orlando. And they have like international offices, and it's really cool to be sponsored by them too and have their eyes on our site all the time. So I wanted to thank them specifically right now because it's because of their sponsorships that we're able to offer the annual membership for free. So big shout out to them. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then let's think. Patrick, did you have another question? Here you said you don't recommend working for free. What about working for free? Volunteering for a nonprofit.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Volunteering a nonprofit does totally do that. Yes, that working for free does not include those categories. Absolutely volunteer. Do as much as you can. Again, get involved with every group you can. Just get people to know your face, and that's how you're going to get work. It can lead to some great jobs, and it's going to be super great, and you're helping the community. Everything. Beautiful.
Okay, and here we have a question from Tom. He said, especially after all that's going on right now, how important is location with freelancing?
Again, depends on the company. Mm-hmm. Most companies in the Orlando area have historically wanted their freelancers to also be in Orlando. There's kind of a mentality about like if we, the company, need you to come into our offices super fast for an emergency, or we want to work together with you in the same room, that we would be able to do that, even if they don't have plans to do it at the beginning of a project. That's kind of the thought process from what I've understood. So, I mean, it's beneficial for you to be in Orlando, but it's not necessary. And there's plenty of clients that totally don't care where you're located. In fact, I just did a little illustration job for a company in Alaska. So there's plenty of other work out there as well.
And I found just in my limited experience here that, being in Orlando and being able to go to Slice events and TEA events is one of the best ways to get, into somebody's mind, so that when they have an issue and that you can solve, that they will think of you, just because they've met you in person, and that's more of a relationship than just being communicating through the computer.
So yeah, I totally agree. If you can, move to LA or move to Orlando and just get a job working in attractions while you're trying to get a job if you're a student. That's what I did. So I want to give a final call out there for folks if they want to ask any question. So, we did have a question that came in. I didn't get to read the whole thing. TEA specific question for a single freelancer. Would you recommend the company's membership or the individual associate may not represent as a company? The difference is yada, yada, yada. If there are different, do you have any perspective? I'm on the TEA board, but I just want to see if you had any thoughts about this. And then I have my own thoughts about
please, you answer.
Okay. Shoot me an email. No, I think you can register as an individual associate. I'd probably recommend that. If you're a company, you are going to be listed as with all your services all done. But if you're doing all these other things and you're networking and you're going to speed networking events and you're putting yourself out there, you might be able to recoup that and just be an individual associate. But you could find me on LinkedIn, and maybe we can chat offline. I'm Patrick Kling, art director for Nickelodeon. Find me on LinkedIn and we can chat about that. I can see where your needs are. I would love you to expand and talk about your speed networking event, because it's really how I knew all about Slice. And while we wait for maybe a couple questions to come in, can you just talk about how that works and so people understand how great this is as a resource?
Yeah, sure. We've been doing it for a number of years. I don't even know how many years, 8 or 9 years, something like that. And it's an annual event. So basically what we do is, well, as Patrick mentioned, it's kind of like speed dating, where you basically have 3-minute interviews with a variety of companies that work in the themed entertainment industry. We've had typically between 17 and 20 different companies come to this event, and they'll set up a table. And when you register for the speed networking event, I basically create a whole schedule for you for the evening. So as a freelancer. So I'll say, okay, you are a 3D designer. I'm thinking of Josh right now. You're a 3D designer, and you're going to match up with 9 of these 20 companies, and I'll give you a slot. So basically, I'll fill up your evening with all the slots of interviews, and you'll go from table to table, as we tell you to, and do your 3-minute speed interviews with these creative directors from all different companies. And we've had Nickelodeon's been participating for the entirety of the existence of the program. Walt Disney Creative Entertainment comes frequently. SeaWorld has always been a very powerful force there in the past. Universal Art and Design, my group, they come. There's a ton of awesome companies that are always participating. It's really a great opportunity.
So I have a question for you. So we have this comes in, I don't know, that's got to be a fake name, Jack Krause. So
he's my board member.
Yeah. Can students go to speed networking if they are not a Slice member? And also, I guess it's what's your demographic of people who are this? So we know that there's Next Gen for TEA that has an internship event. However, this is really about connecting freelancers to work. So what's your take on students, and if they're not a Slice member, but maybe even recent students? Do you have any thoughts about all that?
In relation to the speed networking event?
Yes, relation to speed networking.
Okay. I know that TEA Next Gen has a very robust program where they help with people in that situation, which is awesome. And you're right, our group operates kind of outside of that, where we're helping people who already have experience in the industry, typically, to find work. We have had a couple of students at speed networking events in the past, but we primarily focus on people with experience. You are welcome to come if you are a student, but if you have any questions about it, just contact me first and email me, and we can talk about it. If you feel like you don't quite have enough work, or you're not worried about your portfolio and how it's going to be viewed, I'd be happy to look over it with you and talk about it. Okay, because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah, no problem. A quick question, or maybe it's not a quick question, but from Kelsey. Not to totally dive into this, but what do you recommend to bring to the speed interviews? Business cards, resume, print portfolios. And you kind of do some sessions about this leading up to the speed networking event, but can you touch on this a little bit just so people can start to kind of wrap their heads around it?
Sure, definitely business cards. Definitely resumes, but not everybody wants a resume. So only if they ask it will you be like, here it is, bam. But in terms of portfolios, most most interviewers have told me that they like to see iPad portfolios.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot.
You know, like they can hold the portfolio and scroll through it themselves if they want to, or it's very brightly lit as well, because sometimes the lighting in the area is not very good. So most people like the iPad portfolios the best. Some people have left like leave behinds, like a little card or whatever, and different interviewers like it and or don't like it. So it's a crapshoot. Just go for it. But definitely business cards, and definitely a great portfolio to review.
So we've been talking about you do a tremendous work. You know, I owe my entire career to that very event that you put on, where I met all these people. So I really appreciate it. How you know, we talked about earlier about volunteering for organizations.
Yeah.
You must. I know you have a volunteer board. I would presume there, or at least maybe there are board members, and there are. Are you seeking any volunteers, or maybe are there anybody that are you looking for help right now? We have a lot of students that might be willing. If you're not, that's okay. I didn't tell you this question was coming, but can people get involved, or what are your needs right now?
For volunteering, of course, I have all my board members who are veterans in the industry, and they volunteer every day to help with the Slice Creative Network. So thank you guys. Shout out. But in terms of student volunteers, I usually need help at events. And of course, we're not having any events because of the pandemic. But once we do start having the events again, I would love the help. We always need help with checking in, with, you know, handing things out, with the operation of the whatever we're doing. So definitely just keep in touch. And I would say sign up for the newsletter. And then once you see upcoming events starting to happen that are in real life and not virtual, then contact me, and I'm sure there'll be a great volunteer opportunity.
That's great. Well,
yeah.
Melody, this has been absolutely substantive, amazing, fantastic. I completely appreciate all you've done over the past decade, and I appreciate you coming on and reaching out to our audience. And like I said, I think this is great for students, recent students, people that who are facing the opportunity that they're going to have to probably freelance. So this was incredible information. Dave and Kelly, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I really appreciate you, Melody, and I think I just second what Patrick was saying, that I owe a lot of the reason I am where I am today is because of the help you've given me. So I think we're all very appreciative.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it, and it's very nice to hear from you all. And I hope that I helped to shed some light on the freelancing situation for all of you people out there. And if anybody has any questions at all, I'm always available to help through email. So please email me at admin@slicecreativenetwork.com anytime.
I just wanted to thank you. Like, you welcomed me to a Slice event when I wasn't a member, and it just made me feel like I was part of the group. And it was so different than what I was expecting it to be. It was at the IAPA Mixer last November, and I'm still just like electric from that. I met so many amazing people, some of whom are on this feed right now. Just I don't know. I can't say thank you enough. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of our viewers too. I know we all do, because you guys had some really great questions.
Yeah, well, thank you, Kelly. And you know, part of what Slice is and what I want it to be is a place for the community to gather, and where we all feel comfortable together, and we can help each other answer our questions and help each other learn and grow and get to where we all want to be. And so we operate the whole group with that in mind every day. And I've chosen very specific board members for that reason. They're all very helpful and willing to help the community as well. And so from that, we were able to create this kind of culture, and I hope to keep it that way.
That's great. Melody, we're gonna please stay. We're gonna stay on, and because we want to talk to you after this.
Okay.
But thank you so much. We're gonna do a little housekeeping before we move on. Thank you so much, Melody. So folks, we're trying to figure out how to find you, how you find us. I'm tweeting it. I'm posting on LinkedIn. We have event groups. Please follow us on Facebook. If you go to About to Graduate, you just type that into your little header on Facebook. Follow us there. We'll keep doing these convoluted invites and posts and all that. That's fine. But we want to make sure you guys find this information. go ahead and put in your calendars right now, 12 o'clock on Fridays. Every other Friday, we have a show on May 15th. We're going to do a show the 30th. We have people that are leaping at us to get involved. We have so many people that want to help all of you through this time. So we're really happy that you guys are doing that. Find us on the internet. Follow me on Twitter, real whatever it is, Patrick something or other. Patrick S. Kling. Find me on Twitter. Find these guys. A huge show. Although this is hard to top. I don't know how we're going to top this. We got Brian and then we got Melody. Like, this is fantastic.
It's a tough act to follow.
I know.
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow. But you know what? It's going to be a completely different act next week or 2 weeks from now. Friday, May 15th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Put it in your calendars right now. Chuck Fawcett, President, CEO of Animax Designs, and Steve Anderson, VP of Operations. This is
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this one. I know following up with a lot of you after these sessions, we've been mostly focusing on the creative and freelance side of things. This is going to be a great opportunity to ask those direct engineering questions from the vendors who do so much in the parks. So I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to leave it there, folks. Well, actually, let's get back on screen. Hold on. I'm like running the whole thing. So come join us for that. Big shout out to Melody. Thanks for everything. Thanks for coming on the show. This was fantastic. Kelly and Dave, thank you for doing what you guys do, being passionate.
Thank you,
Patrick.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys on the other. Find me on LinkedIn. Find us everywhere. And have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.